Hello, it's Phil at digitaldjtips.com. A quick look now at the Traktor Kontrol Z2 mixer. I've been playing with this all day and I've written a full review of it at digitaldjtips.com/Z2, but for now, just a look at a couple of the features and of where it fits into the market, who might want to use it. It's a mixer which you can use with turntables or CDs, just like any other mixer. I've got a piece of real vinyl here, remember this stuff? And it just works like a normal mixer. And you can carry on playing vinyl or CDs however much you want. It's also a Traktor Scratch audio interface. Now that means that you can control Traktor. Traktor Scratch is in the box. Traktor vinyl and Traktor CDs are also in the box. And that means that you can control Traktor as well from the same mixer. So there I have a Traktor track playing through from my software. And you can mix between the two, and you can switch directly to Traktor, switch directly back to vinyl, whatever you want. It's pretty flexible, true hybrid mixer in that respect. It's also a USB hub. So on the back there are two USB sockets that allow you to plug in things like an extra F1 controller or an extra X1 controller in order to control extra aspects of Traktor, to control the remix decks better, and so on. There's a couple of features I'd like to show you, so let's get a little look in at those. Get rid of the analog input and go back to the digital input. So here I have a digital track playing, and there's a mode called Flux here. Now Flux mode is best demonstrated rather than spoken about. So I'll turn it on and I'll put some loops on. So hopefully you can hear that the track continues to play underneath anything I do with a loop. So I can put in a little loop. And underneath the track's still playing. It's as if I hadn't done this at all. Really nice little feature. You can do the same thing with cues as well. Borrowed straight from Pioneer and Denon CDJs, that feature. Another feature I really wanted to show you was the Flux, the macro effects, which is here. Macro effects are one knob effects. Now there's a filter on here. The filter works with analog as well, by the way. There's a filter here. And the macro effects work a little bit like that. This knob here is also like a filter. In the middle, nothing happens. But in each direction, an effect kicks in. These macro effects are best thought of as stacks of effects all put together by Traktor's designers to give you one-touch fun without you having to think too much about it. And that's what these are. And you can select from about 10 of them along with all the normal effects. To select one, you hit the shift button and you turn this button, and on the screen you just choose the one that you want. I'll go to one now called Laser Slicer. If I remember this one rightly, it's a pretty extreme one. Let's turn it on and find out. Whoa, it's pretty extreme, that one. The other direction, I'll give you something different. Related but different. Sounds like a reversed version, that. And there's loads of those to play with. So the other thing to point out about the mixer, now we're looking closely at it, is that these buttons here, the cues, loops and feedback from the sample decks are actually color coded. So this blue means that you've got a cue point set. Let's get a loop going. Okay, say I like that loop there, I want to keep it. The loops will be green. So my cues are blue and my loops are green. So that's a nice bit of feedback there. Also, it's even better when you switch to the remix decks, because then you get the top sample on each of these from the remix decks. So in that way, it's a bit like a cross between the sample decks and the remix decks. You don't get access to all the samples lower down. You need the F1 for that. But you get access to the top sample and you see its color on here as well, which is a nice touch. Also, nice feedback comes in the shape of this button here, this LED here, which shows you the loop length so that you know exactly what size loop you've programmed. So again, you don't have to look at the screen to see that. It just makes for more fluid DJing. The other MIDI controls, it's got a browse control for your library. It's got the snap and quantize, just bits and pieces that will save you having to go to your keyboard. So that's all I wanted to show you about it, especially over and above the review. That some of that stuff's easier than writing about. Who's going to buy it? People replacing the mixer in their existing setup are going to love this. Forward-looking bars and clubs are going to like this, where they have only Traktor DJs or normal DJs. I can't see it being used in big venues and so on. Just everyone wants a Pioneer or an Allen and Heath in those situations. But primarily, I think the home user who wants to have a hybrid setup like this is brilliant. You compare it to Serato Scratch Live and the kind of entry-level mixer in the range that you can buy for that Scratch software, and you're looking at double the price for a Range 61. For Traktor, there's a mixer by Pioneer called the DJ-MT one, which it's similar to. It's the same kind of thinking. Hasn't got this kind of color-coded feedback. Hasn't got the 2 decks plus the 2 sample decks, which are controlled by these knobs here, by the way. That's how you get decks C and D into the mix. Hasn't got that. It's just not so tightly tied to Traktor as this one is. Of course, this comes from Native Instruments, so it would be. But then again, the Pioneer one's a little bit cheaper. So definitely worth comparing those two. Full review, again, digitaldjtips.com/Z2, and thank you very much for watching.